Hi everyone! This is my dog Daisy. She is the most cutest thing, or the most craziest. And since Halloween is coming up, we're going to need a costume for her, so what better a costume than to make her an actual Daisy? So my plan is something like this. Let's do this. So here I got some felt. So my first step is to cut out a circle around the size of her neck. So I've got her collar here to measure, but I'm actually going to make the circle bigger than her collar to make sure I avoid squeezing her neck. So now I'm starting with the outside circle. I am making it pretty thick so that I can have maximum space for all the petals. I know it's really rough looking, but it's just a guide so no one will see it anyway. I'm adding another ring around the inner circle because I think it looks a little too small for her, so it's just in case. Time to cut it out! So as predicted, it needs to be bigger, so I'm cutting out the extra ring. I'm also cutting a little slit so that I can overlap the ends when I add buttons. This will make it easy to remove and she can take breaks from the costume. Oh, she likes it. So since that's good, we can move on. I've actually made a second ring off camera because the felt is a little bit flimsy, so having 2 layers might make it a little bit more thick. So the next step is to start making the petals. I've got white felt here and I'll start making raindrop-like shapes. I'm using a petal I made off camera to trace the outline so I can get roughly the same size for each petal. I predicted that we would need about 20 for the first layer, so I'm trying my best to fit them all on one sheet, but I only fit 17. Time to cut it out! This was a really boring and repetitive process, so I'm not going to show all of it. Time for the body piece! Her body will be the stem, so my plan is to put the felt around her body, kind of like a blanket. I'm drawing out like an hourglass shape in the size that is needed, and then I will cut it out. Using the excess felt, I'm going to cut out a rectangle that will kind of act like a belt connecting both the sides of the costume. also cut out an extra piece of felt a tad bit bigger just in case. I decided to use the smaller of the two pieces to make a cute little bow, so here I go trying to figure out how to make a bow for the first time. My first attempt failed miserably and it looked really ugly, so I took it out and remade it. The second try was better, not perfect, but it's the best I can do. I cut the bottom part into a V shape to make it look more like a ribbon bow, but I accidentally messed up cutting the other side by cutting a little bit too much. So I had to cut the other side again to make it symmetrical. It still looked cute, so I didn't mind. Now it is time for the leaves. I was thinking of making small light green leaves and putting them along the edges of the body so it kind of looks like a skirt. I actually didn't know what to do for the body piece. I was just making it up as I go. So after I finished cutting them out, I trimmed a few of the edges to make them look a little bit nicer. I started to line up the leaves against the body piece to see how it would look. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, they look more like dinosaur scales than leaves. I felt it looked a little bit too plain, so I used a medium green felt and cut out two big leaves. I put the leaves under the bow, and I also had a few leftover green leaves, so I overlapped them to make a cute design. Hi there, I'm back the second day because my hands were tired from all the cutting, so now it's time for my favorite part, putting it all together. So I've got my hot glue gun ready, let's go. Now that I've got all the pieces, I'm testing out how I will place the petals on the yellow ring. I will start gluing them down with my hot glue gun. I actually made a second batch of petals off camera for the second layer. I glued one more petal because I was short on one, but for the rest of the petals on the second layer, I glued each one in between the two petals from the first layer. and yellow ring on top of the petals so that I could cover up any messy edges. Then I'm starting to glue on the pieces of the body part. This part is pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to explain. Time for the buttons! I'm using the plastic snaps for the buttons, and to do that, I first needed to use the sharp tool to poke a hole and then put the cap in. Then, I needed to place a stud on top and use the pliers tool to squeeze it down. This part was not easy for my weak hands, and the pieces kept falling off, probably because these are supposed to be used on fabric, not felt, so that made it 10 times harder to place. After, I had to repeat the same process for the other side of the button, but this time using the cap and the socket. They also weren't as easy to button together as I thought it would be. As you can see, the struggle is real. Here we go again, doing it all over again for the other side. I actually ended up doing this 6 times, not including the 2 on the headpiece, because I added some extra in case some fell off and for sizing. One more time for the headpiece. Finally, we're finished with the costume. Now for the part you've been waiting for. Thank you for watching. Bye!